Executives panel. Going down the table for me, I'm Shannon Shark, MetsPolice.com. Adam Vogel is Director of Inside Sales. Kelly Higgins is the Senior Corporate Partnerships Manager. And returning to the Meet the Mets Executives panel, Mark Fine is Executive Director of Marketing. So good to have the Mets executives with us. Thank you for waiting. I'm sure you guys can understand when an actual Mets world champion shows up, you change the schedule around. Since we are running a little behind, I'm going to skip all the warm-up questions and jump in. Mark Fine, let me start with you. The Mets have made the playoffs 2 years in a row, so clearly everything is awesome and your job is super easy and you just open up the window and you go, hey, everybody buy tickets, right?
It's been a great 2 years, that's for sure. We've had a phenomenal 2 years from the ticketing front, and we thank all of you for coming out to the ballpark. But you know, we have 42,000 seats in 81 games, and there's still inventory to sell. So you know, we still have to work hard, and we're going into our fourth year where we're very weekend focused. Where every Friday is a free shirt Friday, every Saturday is our A promotion, like fireworks or bobbleheads, and then Sunday's Family Sunday. So we're continuing to have all of our promotions very weekend based because we still have tickets to sell, but we're very appreciative of the fans. We have a higher season ticket base certainly than we did a couple of years ago, and it's a great lively atmosphere at Citi Field.
How's the weekend plan working out? When we last met, so there was no QBC last year because of the blizzard, but when we last met, you guys had started shifting towards the weekend plan, moving giveaways from Tuesday. As one of the fans, I've heard zero complaints about how come they don't give away caps on Monday nights anymore. So it seems like it's working. It seems like weekend crowds have been packed, and I mean packed.
It is working, and if you look at our attendance numbers from 2016 to 15, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, our average attendance is up year over year. And you're right, you're not hearing people complain because the thought is that you want to put your best promotions during your best days. And when we did some research a few years back with our fans and some surveying, more so than price, more so than opponent, day of the week, and the availability of the fan to be able to attend a game was the most important factor. So we wanted to put our best promotions on our best days.
So a couple years ago, the big bugaboo was dynamic pricing, and the fear being, oh my God, it's going to be 80 degrees out and sunny, and Matt Harvey's pitching against the Nationals, and the Mets are going to jack the prices. It seems like that bugaboo didn't happen or is happening at a level that fans aren't going, oh, those jerks, you know, it's not raining and they're jacking us up. Does dynamic pricing even exist? Is it a thing? What's the feedback on it? And that's a compliment that I'm asking you, like, does it even exist?
Yeah, dynamic pricing does exist. And, you know, for us, it's our job. We want to create urgency. In marketing and in ticket sales, we're trying to create urgency. We want you to buy your tickets now. Because you know what? We're 0-0. And nobody up here has anything to do with what happens on the field. So when we're 0-0, we want to get fans to purchase tickets now and get them anticipating for the season, get them psyched up for the season, because there's a lot of factors that can happen in anybody's purchasing decision when you're purchasing week of or when you're purchasing day of. Fact is, if you purchase in advance, you're going to have a better seat for a better price. But from the dynamic pricing standpoint, I think folks, if it's Thursday and they see a weekend promotion, really where they're only potentially going to be hurt is if we're at a capacity crowd and they're unable to get a seat or unable to get the seat that they prefer.
So I want to include Kelly and Adam here. Kelly's worked in the NBA in a past life, and Adam, you've worked with the Dolphins in a past life. Baseball is a grind, right? It's every day for 6 months. Football, 8 home games, 10. All right, we got to make everybody buy the exhibition games. 10 home games. Basketball, 40 home games. How has it been transitioning to Major League Baseball day in, day out, especially in New York? The news cycle never ends. It's not like in November, Mets executives put their feet up and go, all right, we'll come back to work in March. What's your day like? How's the grind? How's the adjustment? How is baseball different than the other sports?
I can take it first. I think when you look at both of us, and I won't speak for Kelly, but we each started in minor league baseball. So
from a very young age, we were exposed to the elements of working in professional baseball and what it felt like to pull tarp and dance on dugouts and really be the catalyst for the entertainment experience for the fans. So we had started out that way where really that was in our blood from a young age. For me, I transitioned to the Dolphins about 3 years ago now and was there for 2 full seasons, 2 full campaigns. And what you realize is the grind doesn't really change, whether you're working in baseball, basketball, hockey, football, soccer. It's still a 365-day-a-year business. But I do think to an extent, if you really love the grind and you're passionate about what you do, you can have a little bit of an upper edge in baseball because you're just conditioned differently day in and day out. And speaking for myself, I thrive off of that. I love the baseball season. I'm a baseball guy through and through. So personally for me, I enjoy being able to say, hey, it's a Tuesday and we have a game here. I'd be looking at my calendar waiting for the football team to come back in town on certain months because we'd have 3 weeks away in a row. So I like to stay busy. I love the grind and love the ability to sit down with a fan on a Tuesday, bring a client down on a Thursday, and use that as an opportunity to grow our business as well.
I couldn't agree more. I think when you work in sports, you kind of have that expectation of, yeah, you know what you're getting yourself into, and it is a grind, but you have to love it. I think that's the biggest piece. You have to get excited about the games. You have to get excited about wanting to be there for hours upon hours. But then you still have to find that work-life balance and figure out how to live a little. But I think it's really just that passion to be in that atmosphere and with the fans that kind of keeps you going.
It's one thing that was eye-opening to me. I had gotten friendly with the late, great Shannon Ford, who explained to me how when you work for the Mets, it's a family and you're all there all day. It's not like you go home at 5 o'clock. It was we are all Mets and we're all here till the end of the 9th inning and a little beyond, and it's a long day.
She's absolutely right, and I can even think to last night I was at the park until 8 o'clock, and yeah, it's January. There's no snow on the ground, thankfully, but still January. We're a few months out from baseball being played in Queens, and I was having a conversation with 2 of our reps and our security guard, and we're just talking about stories and memories, and I think it's a special bond that you have when you work in this business, and especially the Mets. I mean, from day one, I felt really part of a family here, and you'll see a lot of us will spend time outside of the office together, and it's not by force, it's by choice.
I mean, it really becomes a family, and you spend so much time with each other, and we just have such a great staff and really good people that you enjoy being around each other. And yeah, like Adam said, you find yourself hanging out on the weekends or when you're not there for games, and they become your family. I spend more time with them than I do with my family.
So it seems in the Citi Field era, there are 2 eras: BC, before Cespedes, and everything that comes after. How has your job gotten harder now that the Mets are good? Does it become harder in any way? Like, what has changed? Are there higher expectations from fans? Are people annoyed that, I can't have a row to myself now? Like, what kind of stuff do you hear that comes with success?
Well, there are higher expectations, certainly from our fans and certainly internally. Now that we've reached a level by going to the World Series in 15 and being in the postseason last year and hopefully being in the postseason again for a 3rd straight year in 17, there are higher expectations. But, in my growing up in the sports business, and I'd worked in the minors too, it all starts with a full house. So your sponsorship sales are going to be better. There's going to be more people looking at your advertising if there's more people in the house. Your food and beverage sales are going to be better if there's more people in the house. Obviously, your ticket sales are going to be better. And some would even say that the players feed off of it when there's more people in the house. Players want to play in front of a lot of people. So for us, we are really taking our expectations on the weekends. We want to have more sellouts in 17 than we've had in the past 7 or 8 years.
So with the focus on weekends, and I know you have no control over this, there are national television contracts. Yeah. They're all laughing. Fans, at least fans that I hang out with, like day games. The Saturday day game has disappeared from the schedule. Why can't we play at 110?
Shannon, I know you like the Saturday day games. I'll remind you that 2 years ago, our first Saturday in April, it was cold night, fireworks night, was sold out. And we would have sold out last year in 2016, that first Saturday, which was also a fireworks night. However, the weather was poor 7 days out. So we do hear you. But what we're seeing in the turnstile is that the Saturday night games, even in April and May and in September, are doing better at that time at 7:10 or 4:10 than when they were at 1:10.
Okay, so to be fair, and we're smiling at each other and we're friendly, but chop busting aside, pure business, 7 o'clock makes more sense for New York Mets Baseball LLC. We're here to make money.
Well, it makes more sense for our fans. It's more convenient for them. Maybe not necessarily some people, but from a group sales standpoint, it is very much more convenient for our fans. And we do better at 7:10 or 4:10 than we do at 1:10.
Now on Sundays, family Sundays, sometimes ESPN decides, wow, this is an attractive game, we should play that game at 8:07 p.m. How does that affect Mr. Met Dash attendees? Like, do you hear from parents like, dear Mets, I was excited to run the bases and now I have to run the bases at 12:45 a.m. and I'm annoyed? How does the ESPN, again, we get the business of it, we get the national TV contract, we get that it's somebody else saying game change, and that's part of being a baseball franchise in the 21st century. But do you hear feedback, and how does it affect your mindset for why Family Sunday and not Family Saturday, for example?
Yeah, so the ESPN schedule comes out at different points during the year. And as you see in April, because we've had a lot of success, we have 2 Sunday night games in the month of April. After we had already gone on sale with tickets and after we had already announced our schedule. Will we have as many people as we would have at a 1:10 game? Unlikely. Certainly not for the Mr. Met Dash at 11:30 or midnight, which we continue to do. But we manage that. That's part of our television rights, Major League Baseball's television rights, and we adhere to that, and we make the best of it.
Citi Field, the new stadium park smell is off a little bit, washed away by some beer in playoff games. So you can't just go, hey, everybody, new stadium, come on out. What new things will fans find at the stadium? Are there new areas? Is there a new ice cream stand? Like, what's coming to Citi Field in 2017 that hasn't been there in the past?
Well, I would say we have an event for media on March 23rd called our What's New at Citi Field event. So we can't spoil too many of those things. I will say on the promotional calendar front, there's some TBDs on some Saturdays right now that we've been working very hard on filling with some extremely cool items. So stay tuned for those on those Saturdays that list TBD right now on Mets.com. But for us, we're excited. Our best attended game last year, regular season game, was the Noah Syndergaard Garden Gnome, which was on a Saturday at 4:05, 4:10 p.m. Against the Giants, Saturday, April 29th. And this year, it's going to be Saturday, April 22nd, 4:05 game. And quite frankly, Shannon, it's a $3 item out of China that is selling for hundreds of dollars on eBay. But bobbleheads and gnomes, it's a baseball thing. We love collecting those. And they are a great selling item for us in terms of coming to the game. And that's one of the cool things about baseball, I think, that separates us from other sports, is our giveaways, is that we go very all in all of our giveaways.
But not enough for everyone. Not enough.
Okay, so the question from the audience, the implied
Free
question...
Shirt Friday?
Hang on, guys. So the implied question is, maybe in the past, teams, the Mets, other teams, the giveaway items have been 20,000, 25, or all fans. I think the unasked question is, last year it seemed promotional items were 15,000, so why 15 as opposed to everybody? And what don't we understand? The purpose of this panel is to learn, not just to be stupid Mets, how come they're in a bobblehead, but how does that come to be?
No, so every Friday, and I realize it's an XL shirt. If it wasn't an XL shirt and we had sizes for everyone, you wouldn't get into the game. Because the lines would be extremely long. 70% of our crowd goes through the front of Citi Field, not really, only 30% go through the other gates. So that's why on Free Shirt Friday, during an all-fan giveaway, it is a one-size-fits-all. When we've had Mother's Day and we've done all moms and all kids 12 and under, we have sized differently on those dates because it's still not an all fans giveaway. In terms of our Saturday and Sunday giveaways being first 15,000, it's just something from our standpoint that we have decided we have gone with the 15,000 number for the last few years, and it has worked for us. And I understand that makes it so that fans have to get here relatively early. We want to encourage that. We understand that it can be frustrating to not get an item. That being said, it's our hope when we do a first 15,000 giveaway is to make it as close to first pitch as we can. On those very, very popular ones, like the one that I just mentioned, the Matt Harvey gnome, we've got a Syndergaard hair hat. Those tend to go within 50 to 60 minutes after gates open. That's something that, like many teams, we limit a quantity of how many we order so that we can have enough promotions to stretch through 39 dates throughout the year.
I mean, look, I'm a full season ticket holder. I have early access. I don't really have to worry about it, but it just seems the lines for 2 hours to in, it's a little crazy. And you guys used to do what, 25,000 viewers? Yeah, so I don't know. I just kind of find it crazy, but if it makes sense for you guys.
No, in the past, a few years ago, we just didn't have as many promotional dates. So our choice from a standpoint is that we wanted to have 39 promotional dates instead of what was probably 15 or 16. So that's the difference.
So Mark bought a present. We were talking in the hallway before, and he asked, had we talked about uniforms yet? And he's got some graphics. And I said, don't tell me. So I'm doing this cold. I have no idea, but Mark wanted to talk uniforms. So what did you bring us?
Well, it's not anything that's going to blow anybody away. I think really the difference is, I brought some pictures in terms of our alt uniforms, which is really no different than they've been in the past. This is our alternate home, blue jersey, our alternate road. There's slight differences on the alternate hats, just in terms of the outline, both alternate home BP cap and the alternate road. And then just for spring training this year, we're going to be wearing what we'll be wearing in BP, with the exception of a spring training patch during spring training this year.
So is that spring training? Is that a blue uniform?
No, it is going to be blue. It's not going to have the Mr. Met patch or hat that it had in the past. We're not going to have last year we had the 86 jersey, so actually we have less jerseys this year than we've had in a few years. 2 years ago, I think 2 or 3 years ago, we had the Military Monday jersey.
Yeah.
And it used to be we could go all week with different jerseys. And our preference is at home, the white pinstripes, the white pinstripe pants.
So any chance of a throwback? I'm picking up my shirt, which is always a bad visual, but would you guys like to see one of these? This is a script, New York.
That was 87.
Yeah, that was 30 years.
It is the 30-year anniversary of the 87 team.
It's the Los Mets.
Wow, the script New York's got
the Los
booed.
Mets shirt, the jersey that we had. We scrapped the Los Mets.
The Los Mets, they lose.
That reaction to 87 jerseys.
The last time we wore the Los Mets jersey, it was Matt Harvey's last start in 2013. It was against the Tigers. It was a Fox National game. But yeah, no, we wanted less jerseys. Plain and simple. And our guys, there were certain players, like Matt was one of the guys who would like to, during the postseason certainly, wear the blue alternate. We only wore the blue alternate at home a handful of times, maybe not even a handful of times last year. So for the most part, you're going to see our guys in white pinstripe, but ultimately it's up to the starting pitcher.
So while eliminating uniforms, why introduce a new cap?
It's just tweaking, and we tweak from year to year. And the UniWatch folks do a very good job of seeing that tweaking, but it's just subtle tweaks to go along with 2017 style.
Is there a unifying theme this year? So last time, again, no QBC last year with the blizzard, but 2 years ago, you were nice and you said, yeah, there'll be good things in 2016 related to 86. Is there a unifying theme next year? And then my next question, because Art Shamsky was just here, 69 plus 50 is 19. Have you started having 2019 discussions yet?
There will be something in 2019 that we can say. So we got 2 years for that one. But yeah, that's a no-brainer. Last year we were pretty lucky because you had the 30th anniversary of 86, and you had Mike Piazza, only our second player to go into the Hall of Fame. And we were able to make weekends out of it, and it was really great. This year we don't have those natural tie-ins, so we dropped themes and taglines a few years ago. Again, for us, we don't have some of those natural tie-ins. Our hope is that the team on the field and with some of our promotions that we have this year, do the talking for those dates.
I don't know if any of you can answer, but I'll just throw it out as a topic. So I've seen some teams start to redesign the ballpark and create more, I don't know what the term is, terraces, plazas, just hangout areas. I look at the porch as having potential. Just seems like a place where you might hang out and drink a beer and stare at the game. Not exactly sure what I want up there, but has there been any talk of doing, maybe of what the Rockies cleared out an area and put up a bar, and I know another local team is making some tweaks. Has there been any talk of Citi Field improvements or changes?
So has anybody been to the Coca-Cola corner? It's awesome, right? So I work on the partnership side, so with big brands like Coca-Cola and Verizon, and with the success of the team, we've also seen our partners really want to invest in the ballpark and create these really cool destination spaces so you have a place to just go hang out and have a beer. So Coca-Cola Corner, they came in last off-season and redid it. There's a really cool lounge area. They have a virtual home run derby. You'll see coming into this next season that they're going to invest a little bit more, and there'll be some additional changes there. They want it to be a cool spot. Bud Light Landing, you'll probably see some additions to that, make it feel a little bit more like a backyard and destination kind of hangout space. And then there may or may not be a new bar down in the center field area. So our partners, they want to help make the ballpark just as fun as we do. So you'll see some new things coming, and we'll have some additional details on that at the What's New event.
And to piggyback Kelly too, you're absolutely right, Shannon. I think the direction is people want to bring that experience with their friends inside of the ballpark. I had a unique experience being part of the Hard Rock Stadium renovations before I left the Dolphins, and that was the big concept of how can we get people that come out to games that tailgate 2-3 hours before the gates even open and just stay out there all day into the stadium. What are some of those ways that we can reach out to those fans that don't want that experience to end? And I think we're always looking for new and innovative ways to do that, even in our ballpark. And we've got two of our group sales consultants over there as well who specialize in our big hospitality areas, those areas that have that feeling of having a block party or being in your living room, so to speak, whether it's our Honda Clubhouse or our Delta Sky Deck. So we already have some unique venues in Citi Field that cater to that. And I think that is something you'll see more of along the sports landscape, especially with a lot of these new ballparks.
So question for Adam and Kelly. So Adam, when you're at the Dolphins, the stadium name used to change twice a game. You'd have a new stadium. And Kelly, I just used an antiquated name for the ballpark related to a previous sponsor, and then you correctly used the word corner. So how does it become a challenge so it's a business, at the end of the day it's a business, and you presumably want people like me to use the current sponsor's terminology. How do you reinforce that and break someone like me of habits where I used a different word?
That's a great question. I mean, it takes time. We take some efforts with the brand to do some really engaging things to get you to the Coca-Cola corner. There's some social media aspects to it. So when you're pushing out a picture, you're using the hashtag Coca-Cola corner. It's just sort of that reinforcement of like, this is the name of the space. And even from a ticket sales standpoint, they're constantly using that language. And it's an organizational effort to make sure that we're all speaking the same language and fans are catching on and using that same terminology. But it takes time.
On our end, it's more of an individual effort. I mean, we're direct to consumer from the ticket sales side, so our staff is working tirelessly to bring fans down to the stadium and give them that behind-the-scenes look at Citi Field, where we've got 30 appointments set today, private tours on a Saturday, just taking fans around, talking about options for next year, so they can start to get used to, all right, what's new to the Porsche Suite level and some of these new areas that we have in the ballpark.
So I just moved here from Mars. Why should I come to a Mets game? I've never heard of your organization. I don't know anything about it. Why would I go to this?
Shake Shack? I think we try to individualize ourselves to be a different experience than any of the other 9 major professional sports in the city, and we get a lot of feedback from our fans that it is different. It's a different feel at Citi Field, and I can't really define it, but between our offerings from a food end to the different promotions that we run to the service that we try to provide each and every one of our fans as they get their own consultant, no matter where you're coming from to a ball game or where you purchase your tickets, is we really want it to be about our fans. And you hear this a lot. We can't control wins or losses, but what we can control is the experience once you walk through the turnstiles, and we do really care about that. And I think that separates us from other organizations out there, but we really mean it and we really feel it.
Great. So I really could talk to you for another hour, but I want to keep the day on schedule. We have the UniWatch panel, which is super popular, and then Bobby V will be in here. And then if I keep going, everybody's going to be staring at me. Anything else, Mets executives, you want to share with the fans before we go?
Yeah, one thing that I want to just point out too is that getting kids into their first game is very important to both us and all of Major League Baseball. It's funny, a research project came out where if a child attends their first game by age 8, they're going to attend 59% more games over their lifetime than if they attend their first game at age 14. And if it's age 5, then it's double. So we were like going around the room, and some of us were saying when our first game is, or when our kid's first game, and some of it is 6 months old, year old, 2 years old, and obviously consuming at that age is a different thing. But the great thing about baseball is that it's generational, that it goes from family to family. And I think the experience of seeing a game live is, like Adam said, is almost something that you can't really describe. It's special, and it's certainly special for the young folks. So the last thing I would say to the folks out there is we love you guys. We love your passion. We love your energy that you bring to Citi Field. And keep it up, because through thick and thin, you've been there. And we went through some thin, and you stayed with us. And we're excited for 2017. We're going to make history this year. Hopefully, we're going to be 3 years in a row in the postseason. So that's going to be the first time in our history. We're hoping that happens.
Fine, Kelly Higgins, Adam Vogel, thank you. Thank you for siphoning some of your time to Art Shamsky. Appreciate that. Thanks for coming out. The Mets executives, UniWatch next.